Welcome to Drunk Bible Study. This show's mission is to read every single word of the greatest story ever told. A warning to our listeners, the hosts of this show are sinners, but they're doing their best. There will be drinking and there may be some swears. They did say they'd try to keep it clean, but I wouldn't put my money on it.
I'm Emily, and this is Drunk Bible Study, where my good friends Dedeker and Jace teach me, a born and raised atheist, all about the Bible. So, Jace and Dedeker, how y'all doing today?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good today. It's a cold, rainy day here in Oz. And
oh yeah,
so
it's getting
cozy,
getting into fall, right? It's almost fall over there, or it is fall? Wow,
it is. Well, today's the 1st of May in Australia, and you know what they say about the 1st of May? I don't think they say that same thing here in Australia.
It's May Day.
No, I was...
What do they say? Oh, it's gonna be May?
They do say that, but... yeah, hooray, hooray, the 1st of May.
No, I can't say that I've ever heard that one, but I'll take your word for it.
It's hooray, hooray, the 1st of May, outdoor. I can't say the word, but doing it starts today.
Whoa,
you never heard of that, Emily? You never celebrated the 1st of May? That's straight up from Shakespeare.
Well, goodness, which one?
Wow.
Midsummer. They reference it in Midsummer, the rite of May.
Yes.
Anyway, I was just thinking about that this morning because I was like, I guess that rhyme doesn't apply here because it's getting all cold on the 1st of May in Australia, and I don't think anyone wants to go outside to do it.
Yes, only on this hemisphere that Jason and I are on, not on the hemisphere that you are on. It is so weird to me that, like, during December, it's all beautiful and sunny and stuff there. I can't comprehend that, but it must be nice for everyone celebrating Christmas. The day of our Lord and Savior Jesus, or whatever. Yeah. Is that what they say? Something like that?
It's the day of him, yeah, something like that. How are you doing, Jace?
Oh boy, I'm good. I'm gonna actually transition us into what we're drinking because my day was the epic quest of going to the grocery store today, and so
yes, always
I've sanitized my hands and all the things I brought home, and now I'm trying to
fingernails,
sanitize the inside with heavy drinking. So I have my box wine right next to me, so I can just refill as we go.
Oh my goodness!
Nothing's gonna stop me.
What kind of is it? Just like a red table wine, or what is it? Is it hot? Dedeker, I want to use that all the time. All the time. This is a hot wine.
So yeah, actually, I spent a little time trying to pick it out because I wanted a boxed wine because I wanted bang for my buck, as it were, for Drunk Bible Study. But my problem with a lot of the boxed wines is that they're very sweet. And so I was looking for something that was not as sweet. And actually, I'm pretty happy with this. This is Boda is the brand, and it's their Cabernet Sauvignon.
Lovely.
And it's definitely less like sweet and kind of jammy and syrupy like some of the other ones that I've had. But
That's
what was funny,
love cabs, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
What was funny about it is that I was buying some liquor as well. And I went, standing there by the liquor cabinet thing, and they have to come and unlock it for you. And this very congenial man in a mask came up and was like, "Hey, like, what? How can I lift your spirits today?"
Oh boy!
It's good.
Oh, it's good.
You're like, how many
That's
times
cute.
have you used that one today, sir? How many times? That's adorable.
And we stood there and talked about whiskeys for a little while, and ended up picking one out. And then I was like,
Did you
actually,
get
what?
Woodbridge, or what is it called?
No, I wanted to switch it up a little bit. I just got a bullet bourbon this time.
Okay,
nice.
And then I wanted to get a gin, and so he's like, "Oh, I see. All right." And we went over to the gin section, and
Hendrix.
then I actually got Bombay Sapphire. I already have some Hendrix in the cabinet, so
Jeez, you went nuts.
I did go nuts, and then I was on my way out of that section and said, like, "Thanks so much. Have a good weekend," or whatever. And then and then I stopped in the boxed wine section. I was standing there for a while, and then he comes up a little while later around the other side, and he's like, "Oh, you're getting some wine too." I was just
my goodness!
You're like, wow.
Yeah.
This is how things are in this post-COVID world. Yeah.
And in my like panic of this social interaction, because I haven't had any of those in person, he's like, "Oh, you're getting some wine too." I was like, "Yeah, these are for different times." Like that was my.
Good.
Like I don't know how to speak to people anymore. I love
Real
it.
good. Real good.
Dedeker, do I see you using a silicone straw?
It's a silicone tip attached to a metal straw, which is stuck into a can of what's it called? Fat Pixie hard cider. It actually has a Fat Pixie on there, as you can see.
How cute!
That's kind of awesome.
This is a local Australian hard cider, and by hard cider they do mean hard because this is 8% alcohol.
Wow!
So
wow.
gonna have a good time today.
We're going to expect some shenanigans from Dedeker today.
Exactly. I know. That's a lot for you, Dedeker. I am having a lovely Campari spritzer. Like I'm back in Italy. This has like been the drink of the moment for me and my partner at home. Yeah. But yeah, it's lovely. Just like Campari Prosecco and a little bit of sparkling water. Really.
Nice. That sounds
highly
great.
recommend
it. Sounds refreshing.
Yes, I truly love it. So it's been enjoyable.
Wow.
This is it
so
for me.
So before we start... Yeah, I was just going to say, before we start reading today, Emily, do you remember what happened last time?
So we met David, the very, very lovely young boy David, who is playing harps for people. Saul has fallen out of favor in the eyes of the Lord and in the eyes of Samuel. And yeah, some exciting stuff's going to happen for sure.
And he was cursed with demons or evil spirits.
Yes. Yeah, evil spirits. And we didn't know if that meant like demons or if that just meant potentially like sadness or depression. We don't know. Biblical scholars say it could be one or the other. Or maybe just God hated on him. Who knows?
But we do know that he loved David very much. He loved David's harp playing and made David his armor bearer.
Yes, which is a very erotic position to be in.
We have not yet cast David. You know, Saul is still, Adam Driver's still doing us a solid as Saul.
Yeah.
Now, someone in our Facebook group, in our Drunk Bible Study Fans and Fellowship Facebook group, suggested Sebastian Stan because of the fact that Sebastian Stan looks like a young Mark Hamill. And so maybe that's how we get around our no age regression rule. Our arbitrary no age regression rule.
Sebastian Stan is the Winter Soldier.
He is the Winter Soldier.
He is the Winter Soldier.
The soldier.
That's how I know he is. Okay. Yeah.
So maybe we audition
Bucky.
him.
Yield Bucky.
Yeah, Bucky.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe we audition
Bucky.
him.
Okay. Right.
Are we auditioning these people? I feel like we're just giving them offers, Dedeker. Do we need to audition? We're like, you know what,
Sebastian?
Have
to try him out.
We don't care that you were the Winter Soldier. You need to come in for a read, okay? You need to come in.
I mean, Jeff Goldblum had to audition. He crushed it, but he did have to audition. So
these like magical auditions that happen in our mind. I love it. Okay. All right, so what are we reading today?
All right, so today we're continuing on in Samuel, just 2 chapters today, chapters 17 and 18. And I think today we might get to a story that you are familiar with, Emily.
Me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is a giant in the sky coming?
I'm not going to spoil it any more than I already have.
Wait, am I starting this out, Dedeker? Is it me?
Yes, you are.
It's me. Okay, cool.
Okay.
And then Dedeker, and then I'll bring us home with the last one. Gosh, and then we'll just do a musical of Into the Woods after that.
I would let's do it. We can play all the characters.
All right, as we get started, we want to remind everybody to read responsibly and drink responsibly.
You can drink along with us, or you can listen in the car.
But please do not do both at the same time. And with that, Samuel 17. The Philistines gathered together their armies to battle, and they were gathered together at Soko. Soko?
Yeah, Southern Comfort.
Cool. Which belongs to Judah, and encamped between Soko and Azekah in Ephes Dammim. Saul and the men of Israel were gathered together. Wait, Saul's back? Saul's
He's still king, technically.
Yeah, he's still going on. Yeah.
Wait, what did you say today that was so funny, Jace, about Saul? It was not Better Call Saul. It was like...
What, Better Recall Saul?
Better Recall
Saul. Love it.
Gosh. That was so beautiful. Funny.
It was fun.
Wow.
I laughed, Dedeker. Jeez.
Everyone laughed but Dedeker.
I know. That tends to happen. Okay. So Saul and the men of Israel were gathered together and encamped in the valley of Elah, and set the battle in array against the Philistines. The Philistines stood on the mountain on one side, and Israel stood on the mountain on the other side. And they were like, what's up? How's it going?
We've done this whole, mountain singing battle with the curses and the blessings. You remember that?
Yeah, that was a while ago.
That was a long time ago, though.
That was back in the Torah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was when we were first coming into Canaan to claim it, I think, is when we did that.
And there was a valley between them, yes. So 2 mountains, 1 valley.
Uh-huh.
They went out, a champion, out of the camp of the Philistines named Goliath. There he is, of Gath. Oh, but he's a big boy, whose height was 6 cubits and a span. Can we...
No, I did some math on this already. I already did the math.
Cubits.
Thank goodness somebody did.
So he's almost 10 feet tall.
Wow.
Okay.
That's a
Legit
lot.
giant. Wow.
Yeah, he's
okay.
Now, I
legit
remember
giant.
as a child when someone explained that to me being very disappointed, because when you're a kid and someone says the word giant, you think like,
right.
Jack and the giant,
and the beanstalk,
and the beanstalk, like huge, like several stories tall. But when someone was like, yeah, he was like 10 feet, I was like, oh.
But no, what? In most people's homes have a 10-foot ceiling. So think of somebody like hitting the ceiling. That would be a lot.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to.
Big...
I wouldn't want to encounter this person. No way.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't want to fight that guy.
No, for sure. Okay, so let's see, where are we? So yes, Goliath of Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span. I don't know what that means. A span of potentially more cubits.
Wasn't this a span? I thought a span was for our listeners at home, was the length across, like your hand, basically, was a span.
So
or was it like from your...
It's from
your
the tip
thumb
of
to your pinky if your hand is spread.
Pinky when you spread your fingers out. That's
right, and I said, are we talking about Shaq's span or like mine? Because those are 2 very different things. I don't know.
Well, someone in the chat did nominate Shaquille O'Neal to maybe play this part of Goliath, so we could use Shaq's span.
Yeah.
There you go. I love it. Yeah, that's
great. Be extra tall. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, so he had a helmet of brass on his head, and he was clad with a coat of mail, and the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of brass. Interesting. They're weighing it in the amount of money that it is.
No, remember shekels are a measurement of weight, actually.
Oh yes.
So it's like saying, he paid in this many ounces of gold or this many. Whatever. Yes. So shekels is just a unit of measurement. And how much is that? Does anyone know? 5,000 shekels of brass? In the chat, let us know if you can figure that out.
Yeah, some of you. I can't off the top of my head. He had a brass shin armor on his legs and a javelin of brass between his shoulders. The staff of his spear was like a weaver's beam, and the spear's head weighed 600 shekels of iron, and his shield bearer went before him. Why would his shield bearer go before him? Like this little guy running out and he's like...
Like a golf caddy.
He stood and cried to the armies of Israel and said to them, "Why are you come out to set your battle in array? I am not a Philistine and your servants to Saul. Choose you a man for you and let him come down to me. If he be able to fight with me and kill me, then we will be your servants. But if I prevail against him and kill him, then you shall be our servants and serve us."
Wow.
That seems rough.
It's a wager. It's high stakes.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I know. Yikes. So the Philistines said, "I defy the army of Israel this day. Give me a man that we may fight together." When Saul and all Israel heard those words of the Philistine, wait, it says just the Philistine, like one Philistine, not multiple Philistines? What do they mean by the Philistine?
What, Goliath the singular Philistine?
Oh, okay. So he's still yelling. Okay.
He's just constantly yelling.
Just it won't stop. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it makes sense because I see him down in the valley and then everyone's looking at him like it's like a gladiator situation. They're in the stands of the 2 mountains, looking down.
I like that.
Happening.
Eating their popcorn.
Exactly. Yeah, they're super excited.
Okay.
Yeah, so, okay. The Philistines said, I defy the armies of Israel this day. Give me a man and that we may fight together. When Saul and all Israel heard those words of the Philistine, they were dismayed and greatly afraid. Now, David was the son of that Ephraite of Bethlehem, Judah, whose name was Jesse, and he had 8 sons, and the man was an old man in the days of Saul.
This is such weird storytelling.
Yes, it is. Yes, by all means.
Can I give you a little bit of the message version of this?
Please.
This is one of my favorite, I think, one of my favorite message ways of just really pulling you into the story. So this is verse 11. When Saul and his troops heard the Philistines' challenge, they were terrified and lost all hope.
Oh.
Enter David, period.
What?
Enter
it's like
David.
A stage direction?
It's like a stage direction.
Goodness. Okay. I mean, that's not what this says. And then, wait, and then they have to talk about who David is as though we, like, don't already know who he is?
Yeah, it's classic. Classic.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna finish this out. So now David was the son of that Ephraite of Bethlehem, Judah, whose name is Jesse, that guy, and he had 8 sons, meaning Jesse did. And the man was an old man in the days of Saul, stricken in years among men. I guess they still mean Jesse?
Yeah, he's old.
David ain't old.
He's
okay,
just real old. He's real old now.
The 3 eldest sons of Jesse had gone after Saul to the battle, and the names of his 3 sons who went to battle were Eliab the firstborn, next to him Aminadab, another Aminadab?
Mm-hmm.
Minidab?
Mini-dabs are very popular.
They love mini-dabs, yeah.
Yes. Next to him Aminadab, and the third Shammah. David was the youngest, and the 3 eldest followed Saul. Now David went back and forth from Saul to feed his father's sheep at Bethlehem. The Philistine drew near morning and evening and presented himself 40 days. Wait, so you mean Goliath did? He was like running around a bunch?
Can you say that? Can you read that one more time, please?
Okay, this is
Just
verse
that last-
16.
Yeah.
The Philistine drew near morning and evening and presented himself 40 days.
Okay, so like 40
So
days
he's-
in a row, he's
like,
coming
"Here
out
I
being
am."
like, hey, who's going to challenge me? Hey,
Yeah.
come on
Okay.
down. Hey, and people are just ignoring him for 40 days.
I guess.
Quaking in their boots.
Yeah,
They're
I think
quaking, yeah.
that's what's happening. They're probably not like ignoring him. They're just like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? I don't know what to
Right.
do with this person. Okay,
Yeah.
so Jesse said to David, his son, take now for your brothers an Ephah?
Epha?
Ephah of this parched grain and these 10 loaves and carry them quickly to the camp to your brothers and bring these 10 cheeses to the captain of their 1,000 and look how your brothers fare.
Piling and
These
piling
little
and piling.
10 cheeses.
Here's a big bag of Baby Bell cheeses. Here's a pheasant. Here's some Lunchables. Now go, haste.
Yeah.
Run.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So bring these 10 cheeses to the captain of their 1,000 and look how your brothers fare and take their pledge. Now, Saul and they, all the men of Israel, were in the valley of Elah fighting with the Philistines. So I guess the Philistines and them are still fighting? Or are they all just like still on these mountaintops looking down?
I'm sure there's skirmishes at the very least.
It definitely seems like there's some sort of fighting going on, but that I guess Goliath still comes out every day offering this challenge
To offer
of like,
that
if someone
ultimate
beats me,
challenge
then
of, yeah.
Yeah,
I give
he's
up.
like the snitch, like in Quidditch. Like the match ends, the whole thing ends when he's caught.
Goliath is
Okay.
worth 150 points.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. I love it.
He's
Okay.
worth a totally unreasonable, unfair amount of points.
Yeah, exactly.
got
And then
it.
the whole game ends. Okay.
Yeah.
But right now the game has lasted 40 days. So cool.
Okay.
Okay. So let's see. David. Oh, now Saul and they and wait, crap. Where am I? Take their
Verse
pledge.
20?
Oh, okay. Was it? Yeah. Okay. David rose up early in the morning and left the sheep with a keeper and took and went as Jesse had commanded him. And he came to the place of the wagons as the host which was going forth to the fight shouted for the battle. As the host which was going forth to the fight shouted for the battle. What?
Like, just as they were about to... Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a
Like,
very
you may
cinematic
take our
moment.
lives, but you'll never take our freedom.
I see.
That kind of a, yeah.
Yeah, that kind of a moment. Israel and the Philistines put the battle in array, army against army. David left his baggage in the hand of the keeper of the baggage. And ran.
Now, what I would not give to be able to do that for my own baggage, let me tell you. Somebody hooked me up with the keeper of the baggage. And
yes. I love that, like,
well.
I just, like, I feel like there's, like, he's at a hotel and he's like, excuse me, like, keeper of the baggage, here's my 10 bags and
here's
my cheeses.
My little cheeses. Here's a $5 for your trouble.
Little baby cheeses. And
have a cheese on me.
Exactly. And now I'm going to run in. So, goodness. Okay. So he left his baggage in the hand of the keeper of the baggage and ran to the army and came and greeted his brothers. Hey, guys. As he talked with them, behold, there came up the champion, the Philistine of Gath, Goliath by name, out of the ranks of the Philistines and spoke according to the same words. And David heard them. All the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him and were sore afraid. The men of Israel said, have you seen this man who has come up? Surely to defy Israel is he come up, and it shall be that the man who kills him, the king will enrich him with great riches and will give him his daughter and make his father's house free in Israel.
Whoa, okay, hang on. This is a whole new list of stipulations.
Yeah. Because, I mean, wait, and are they talking about Saul? Saul's going to, like, give away his daughter?
I guess
and, like,
so.
make it a big deal? Okay.
I guess so.
Seems...
That's...
Somebody just said this is seriously the King Arthur story. That's true. Wait, who did Arthur? Yeah. Arthur just had to pull Excalibur out, right? Or did he also have to kill a guy?
King Arthur pulled Excalibur out. I think they're referring to the whole, like, Lancelot and Guinevere situation, maybe? Or, like... At least it was
Who's
in...
Guinevere in the situation?
What was that Richard Gere movie that we all watched together?
Oh, First Night.
That's what I was thinking
It's a true classic. Yes. David spoke to the men who stood by him, saying, what shall be done to the man who kills this Philistine and takes away the reproach from Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God? So I guess... They're talking about Goliath.
Well, yes. I mean, anyone who's uncircumcised is no good, you know, is no good. It's some straight up talking smack, you know?
Right. That's true. They were like, did he check? Yeah, that's the question. How do they know? Did
no,
they just
you would
assume?
Just know. Because I'm willing to bet at this time,
Goliath,
pretty much.
Goliath is not in the nude. He has the chainmail on. He has the whole thing on.
He has a very heavy armor on.
You would just know, because at that time, I'm sure in this region, the Hebrews are probably the only ones who have the practice of we ritually circumcise everybody.
Yeah,
you know?
You're probably right. So
they're not the only culture to ever circumcise, but at this time, they're probably the only ones where like we do that by default, and so they just assume everyone else is not.
Or just that they know for sure that the Philistines don't.
Yeah,
we did cover that like potentially the Egyptians also did that, you know, but they know that the Philistines don't. So there you go.
Okay, so the people answered him after this manner, saying, so shall it be done to the man who kills him. Eliab, his eldest brother, heard when he spoke to the men, and Eliab's anger was kindled against David. And he said, why are you come down? And with whom have you left those few sheep in the wilderness? I know your pride and the naughtiness of your heart, for you have come down that you might see the battle.
The naughtiness of your heart.
He's got a naughty heart.
Who wrote this? Who translated this?
I don't know. I don't know. Is that what the message says? Did the message
There's no way in heck that the message says the naughtiness of your heart. I'm sorry. I would put so much money on that.
Do you want to hear the message version of this?
Yes.
Please.
Okay. And he lost his temper. What are you doing here? Why aren't you minding your own business, tending that scrawny flock of sheep? I know what you're up to. You've come down here to see the sights, hoping for a ringside seat at a bloody battle.
He's like, I'll show you a bloody battle, brother. Jeez. Okay.
Take my cheeses and go. I'll take my cheeses where they'll be appreciated.
Yes,
that one
indeed.
to me, it read like the script for like a dubbed film, that just sort of awkwardly like having a ringside
kind of
seat at a bloody battle.
Translated.
Yeah, just not quite. Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay, I'll do one more verse and then Dedeker, I'll hand it over.
Okay.
So David said, "What have I now done? Is there not a cause?"
Is there not a cause?
Is
there not a cause?
I don't know.
That classic saying.
It's now a proverb. Okay.
What's going to happen? Okay.
So we're on verse 30.
Verse 30. He turned away from him toward another and spoke after the same manner, and the people answered him again after the former manner. Okay, Jace, you got to help. That was just like so many layers.
He spoke after the same manner. And then
help me out.
What?
Yeah, it's that they're doing that thing where they use the same pronoun for everybody with no distinction.
It's awful.
Yeah. So so the Message's version of David's reply of like, "Is there not cause?" or whatever it was, "What is it with you?" replied David.
I mean, he's not wrong.
All I did was ask a question.
He's not wrong.
Gosh.
Then, ignoring his brother, this is still David, he turned to someone else, asked the same question, and got the same answer as before. And that answer was about what the king's going to do if anyone beats this guy.
Okay, so David's trying to stir up some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, definitely.
Well, I guess.
When the words were heard, which David spoke, they rehearsed them before Saul, and he sent for him. Okay, so someone told Saul, "Hey, there's this kid. There's a kid. There's a kid stirring up trouble."
Saul knows who he is, right?
He would. He'd be like, "Oh yeah,
I guess so,
my armor bearer.
yeah.
Why didn't
he played harp?
Like, my armor bearer. Why didn't I think to send for him going into a battle? That was silly of me."
Yeah, wouldn't I need him?
You would think that I would.
Maybe
need
he's
him.
just gonna sit around.
Okay, so Saul sent for him. David said to Saul, "Let no man's heart fail because of him. Your servant will go and fight with this Philistine." Saul said to David, "You're not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for you are but a youth, and he a man of war from his youth." David said to Saul, "Your servant was keeping his father's sheep, and when there came a lion or a bear and took a lamb out of the flock, I went out after him and struck him and delivered it out of his mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard." A bear with a beard?
Wow.
I caught him by
Holy
bearded bear.
Now, I could see with the lion, you're like, I grabbed him by his mane, but the bear, where do you grab? I caught him by his beard.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've never seen a bear with
Maybe
a
there
beard.
were-
Not that I've ever
Maybe
seen
there were
a bear,
bearded
like
bears
in the
back
flesh.
in the day.
Maybe at a zoo, but yeah, maybe.
The Message just translated "sit" as "throat."
I like beard, though.
Like where the beard would be, but the beard is good.
I don't think that you'd grab a bear here, maybe by the scruff of his neck.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't think I don't know if David would be grabbing bears.
You know what, though? I'm going to
Really?
lean into a bear with a beard, or a beard with a bear. I don't know. A bear with a beard.
A beard?
Okay.
Can I have a little bear with your side of bear? Yeah.
I caught him by his beard and struck him and killed him. Your servant struck both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he has defied the armies of the living God.
Just have to keep throwing that out there.
Yeah. Can't
throwing out
emphasize that enough.
Yeah, he's uncircumcised. How dare he?
Okay, all right. Okay, so David's like, "Hey, I'm badass. I've killed lions. I've killed bears. I can handle this dinky, wimpy, gigantic, uncircumcised
10-foot man.
10-foot Philistine."
Right.
David said,
That would have sucked if he didn't win.
it's a very short story. All this pomp and circumstance and building
and
up.
he died.
And David was crushed like a bug. Okay. David said, "Yahweh, who delivered me out of the paw of the lion and out of the paw of the bear, he will deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine." Okay. All right.
Let's hope so.
Saul said to David, "Go, and may the force be with you." He didn't say that. He said, "Go, and Yahweh shall be with you," but basically, may the force be with you. Okay.
Same idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Saul clad David with his clothing. Ooh. And he put... yes?
Really?
Yeah. And he put a helmet of...
Did he take off his own clothing and then put it on?
Well, it's...
No, I think
David?
just his awesome kingly clothing.
Well, it's more about his armor. It's more about his armor. So Saul clad David with his clothing, and he put a helmet of brass on his head, and he clad him with a coat of mail. Now, okay. Something just occurred to me is that I'm like, usually the way the scene was described to me is like, oh, Saul's so concerned for him that he's like, okay, like, let me give you my armor if you're going to go. Let me help make sure that you're protected. And now I'm thinking, what if he's just trying to use David as a decoy? He's like, okay, you're going to wear the king's armor, so they're going to think that it's the king going out there. Everyone's going to think that, that I was super brave and courageous when actually it was you.
I feel like all of the artwork that I see of this scene, like David's like basically nude, or he has a loincloth and a sword, and that's it.
That's true. The statues of David, he is naked.
Keep reading.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. So that's David in that statue.
Yeah, because he has a sling. Doesn't he have a sling in his hand with the statue? Michelangelo's David.
I thought he had he was just like
he's just like what?
He has a sling.
Emily's making a pose like she's holding like a tray of cocktails or something. Like.
No, I for whatever reason, I had that he was holding an apple, but he definitely does. Nope, that's a sling. A sling in my hand. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, David girded his sword on his clothing, and he tried to go, for he had not proved it. David said to Saul, I can't go with these, for I have not proved them. David put them off him.
Proved what?
Jace, what's the message say?
Yeah, the message is pretty good. It says, David tried to walk, but he could barely budge.
Okay, so this is way too much for his little scrawny
his little boy body.
I think he's apparently 20 here is what I've read.
Right.
Yeah, but he's still youthful, I guess, and not a built man at this point.
We also learned that Saul was very tall. So this is going to be extra big armor on him probably too.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
He took his staff in his hand and chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook and put them in the shepherd's bag which he had, even in his wallet and his...
What?
Let's put these stones in my wallet here.
Gigantic wallet, jeez.
And his sling was in his hand, and he drew near to the Philistine. The Philistine came on and drew near to David, and the man who bore the shield went before him. When the Philistine looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth, and ruddy, and withal of a fair face.
Wait, he's still ruddy? Wait, and ruddy to me just means that he rolled around in some mud. And that's the first thing that they said about him was that he was a ruddy youth.
I thought ruddy was kind of it had a pinkish tinge to your face.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it means red-faced. Okay.
Good capillaries.
He's active. He's active. He's a cherubic little, rosy-cheeked youth.
Oh, I see.
A cherubic little cherub, yes.
Cherub,
okay.
yeah.
A little chickadee.
The Philistine said to David, Am I a dog that you come to me with sticks? The Philistine cursed David by his gods.
And rocks.
The Philistine said to David, Come to me, and I will give your flesh to the birds of the sky and to the animals of the field. Then said
Wow.
David to the Philistine, You come to me with a sword, and with a spear, and with a javelin, but I come to you in the name of Yahweh of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. This day will Yahweh deliver you into my hand, and I will strike you and take your head from off you. And I will give the dead bodies of the host of the Philistines this day to the birds of the sky and to the wild animals of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel, and that all this assembly may know that Yahweh doesn't save with sword and spear. For the battle is Yahweh's, and he will give you into our hand. Okay, David, you got...
They are talking a lot. They are talking
David
a lot before this freaking battle.
He's got some public speaking skills, though. He can improvise a really stirring speech. I gotta hand it to him.
Someone had mentioned earlier that the whole, enter David thing and Goliath and everything feels like WWE. And this fits with that, right? It's like you come out, you grab the mic from the referee and do the I'm going to mess this guy up. He has no chance. This scrawny little weakling, and the other one being like, oh yeah, I got the power of Yahweh. I'm going to make, I'm going to chop off your head. It totally is that kind of.
I love it.
It happened when the Philistine arose and came and drew near to meet David, that David hurried and ran toward the army to meet the Philistine. David...
This is like in Legend of Zelda when you have to always defeat a way bigger guy than Link is. This is David's Link in this point. and he's like rolling around, and then
he's like,
it's good.
"Take."
It's good.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Hi.
David put his hand in his bag and took there a stone and slang it and struck the Philistine in his forehead, and the stone sank into his forehead, and he fell on his face to the earth.
Okay.
Did you say
He
slang? Did you say he slang it?
You slang it?
He slang? Did you
I
actually
actually
say that
said
word?
that.
He slang
yes.
it? Is that the past participle of sling?
According to this translation,
Sling,
it is.
slung? Is that?
He slang it.
Wow. I had no
One
idea.
shot.
He slang
one
it.
shot. You one shot killed this dude.
Yeah. No scope.
Wait, really? That's how he
Yes.
killed him?
So David, or wait, hang on. There's a little bit more. So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and with a stone, and struck the Philistine and killed him. But there was no sword in the hand of David. Then David ran and stood over the Philistine and took his sword and drew it out of the sheath of it.
Oh, the Philistine
and
sword.
killed him and cut off his head therewith. When the Philistines saw
His gigantic head.
Yeah.
When the Philistines saw that their champion was dead, they fled.
Can I read you the message version of this whole situation that just happened?
That was really, I don't know,
just
it was fairly anticlimactic. He's like, stoned. Like, here's a crazy stone in your head. Done. Wasn't a lot of
I feel like when we film
excitement.
this, we'll just have to be sure to really prolong that moment and do some of that like slow-mo kind of situation. Maybe have him jump midair as he's
that's
throwing
good.
with
It's
the
classic
sling.
Hollywood.
Well, we can make it cool.
Wait,
Yeah,
somebody
we'll make
said
it
that he
cool.
didn't die from the stone. What did he die from then?
Well, I guess technically he probably got knocked out from the stone, and then David hewed his head off with his own sword.
Oh, okay. So he just
Yeah.
like fell over. I see.
think so it's interesting because the message does say that he died from the stone, but it's unclear if that actually killed him or if it just knocked him out so that then David could cut his head off. But I was just going to say that the message gets a little gruesome here.
Okay.
So it says, that's how David beat the Philistine, with a sling and a stone. He hit him and killed him. No sword for David. Then David ran up to the Philistine and stood over him, pulled the giant sword from its sheath, and finished the job by cutting off his head. When the Philistines saw that their great champion was dead, they scattered, running for their lives.
Yep.
Wow.
More exciting.
David
wording
turns
it that
around
way.
and is like, who's next?
Are you not entertained?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Are you not entertained? Exactly.
The men of Israel
Yeah.
and of Judah arose and shouted and pursued the Philistines until you come to Guy and to the gates of Ekron.
What's up,
The
guy?
wounded of the Philistines fell down by the way to Sharaim, even to Gath and to Ekron. The children of Israel returned from chasing after the Philistines, and they plundered their camp. David took the head of the Philistine and brought it to Jerusalem, but he put his armor in his tent. When Saul
He's like, where's my
Yeah.
reward? Where
When
is
Saul
it?
saw David go
yeah.
forth against the Philistine, he said to Abner, the captain of the host, Abner,
Lil
Abner?
Abner?
Abner, whose son is this youth? Abner says, As your soul lives, O king, I can't tell. The king said, Inquire whose son the young man is. Does he not know? Because he already has him hired
Wait,
as a...
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, wait, Saul
Maybe
doesn't
he doesn't know who his dad is.
No, because like Samuel went and talked to Jesse's family, and that's where he found that David was going to be the king. And then it did kind of clarify that coincidentally later Saul had
Right,
him
but he
come as a
didn't
harp
know
player.
that he was attached to Jesse.
They're not.
He just thought that
Yeah.
he was a harp player, and
Just
then he
a
was
harp
like,
player, yeah.
"You're my armor
Okay.
bearer now, and now you're this guy who killed this Philistine."
As David
Right.
returned from
Okay.
the slaughter of the Philistine, Abner took him and brought him before Saul with the head of the Philistine in his hand. Saul said to him, Whose son are you, young man? Hang on, sorry.
That's what he's holding.
Whose
That's what
son
he's
are
holding.
you young man? David answered, I am the son of your servant Jesse, the Bethlehemite. That's the end of the chapter.
Dun,
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 dun, and that's
dun.
like fade on his face as after that.
I'm the son of your servant Jesse. Okay.
Yeah, and then it like cuts back to Saul being like, and then that's the end of that
And then
episode.
it's like he saw a ghost. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Jace,
exactly.
I like how we conveniently go back and forth between this being a TV show and a movie whenever it's convenient for like episode breaks or whatever.
Anyway, before we move on to the next chapter, we want to just take a quick break to talk about helping to support this show so that we can keep things free and so that we're able to do these like live show hangouts for free so that people have a place to go and hang out and drink with some buddies.
All right. I'm going to continue us on here with 1 Samuel 18. I just like doing that.
First Samuel? 1 Samuel.
The first of the Samuels, chapter 18. It happened, when he had made an end of speaking to Saul, that the soul of Jonathan was knit with the soul of David.
Oh.
And
who's Jonathan again?
Jonathan is Saul's son.
Okay.
Remember, he was the one who went with his armor bearer, who was not going to be played by Vin Diesel, but I wanted it to if like a younger Vin Diesel.
Yes.
So he's the one who killed all the Philistines that other time.
That guy. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so when he'd made an end of speaking to Saul, that the soul of Jonathan, Saul's son, was knit with the soul of David. And Jonathan loved him as his own soul.
Wow, like love at first sight.
Oh, so they're in love with each other. Cool.
Yeah.
Love it.
Saul took him that day and would let him go no more home to his father's house.
Wait, Saul took who? David?
David, I guess, and said, like, you can't go home no more. You're mine now, I guess.
You're staying with us, kid.
I'm adopting this one.
Yes.
Then, and who is playing Jonathan again? That was Timothy Chalamet?
Yeah.
I think Timothy Chalamet, yes. We gotta write that one down.
Good choice. Okay.
Right. And have we cast David yet, or we're still thinking about that?
We're auditioning Sebastian Stan.
Okay.
I think the Winter Soldier would be good, but I don't know.
Okay. Okay. All right. Then Jonathan and David made a covenant because he loved him as his own soul.
So they're totes together now, right?
They practically got married if they made a covenant. Jeez.
No, exactly. They did get married.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I love this.
Cool.
So Jonathan stripped himself of the robe that was on him.
They're even going to consummate the relationship.
Jeez.
And gave it to David and his clothing, even to his sword and to his bow and to his sash.
Wow.
World's best David.
Mm-hmm. David went out wherever Saul sent him and behaved himself wisely. Okay. And Saul set him over the men of war, and it was good in the sight of all the people, and also in the sight of Saul's servants. It happened as they came, when David returned from the slaughter of the Philistine, that the women came out of all the cities of Israel, singing and dancing to meet King Saul with tambourines and joy and with instruments of music. This writer could not think of any instruments besides
except for a tambourine.
A tambourine and joy and instruments of music. Come on now.
And what do you feel when you hear music? Joy?
Yeah. Okay. The women sang one to another as they played and said, Saul has slain his thousands.
Excuse you.
David
Saul
his
didn't do
10,000s.
Oh, okay.
So they are kind of giving props to David.
Okay, good.
Oh, Saul was very angry.
Uh-oh.
And this saying, that classic saying, Saul has slain thousands, David 10,000, has displeased him. Whew. And he said, they have ascribed to David 10,000s, and to me they have ascribed but thousands?
Yeah.
And I mean,
technically David was one. Yeah. Just one big one.
But no, I guess that meant 10,000 people.
I guess he's leading the armies now, though, so maybe he is getting a lot of victories.
David's leading the armies? Okay.
Well, yeah, because Saul set him over.
Yeah, he put him over the men of war.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. And what can he have more but the kingdom? Oh, it's like if you give him this now, what next? He's going to want the kingdom. Saul eyed David from that day and forward.
He was like giving him the side eye.
I think we just say that day forward, but sure. That day and forward. It happened on the next day that an evil spirit from God came mightily on Saul.
Another spirit?
Another one. Another wave of depression, maybe.
This is interesting, though. Check this out. Okay. It happened on the next day that an evil spirit from God came mightily on Saul, and he prophesied in the midst of the house.
Huh.
Wait, who did? Saul did?
Saul did.
Okay.
I think. It seems to me like Saul prophesied while overcome with these evil spirits.
Okay.
And David played with his hand as he did day by day.
Wait a minute.
Like he's still the harp player? Or is he still the harp player?
I guess.
Okay.
He's still the harp player.
In my mind, I was like, he was like gently caressing.
We talked about this last time too.
There was some like hand massage stuff going on, and
right. But okay, so he played with his hand, which we think is the harp, because that happened last episode.
But is actually the lyre, the lyra?
The lyra.
Lyre, yeah. Okay. Saul had his spear in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay, so Saul's got the spear in his hand while David's playing for him, and Saul is prophesying while overcome with evil spirits, I guess. And Saul cast the spear, for he said, I will strike David even to the wall.
To the window.
Yeah. I knew Emily was going to do that.
Thank you. Yep.
Denigrate.
Every time. Every time. Now, this line's weird. David avoided out of his presence twice.
What?
You're gonna have to translate that in some other way.
Okay, sorry. Okay, I need to review. So Saul's upset because the people are giving David way more props than they're giving to Saul, and Saul's scared. Like, the people are gonna love David more. They're gonna hand over the kingdom to him. I'm gonna be displaced. And Saul's like, I'm gonna kill him, even though I loved him. Now I'm gonna kill him. And David, instead of just generally avoiding Saul, managed to dodge him twice. We've documented.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dave picked up on the fact that Saul's angry at him, angry to the point of killing him.
Right.
Okay.
And he's like, whoops.
Right. I think I got it.
So,
okay.
What's great is that our confusion about, like, he dodged him twice? Like, why not just run away after the first time? Like, what's going on? And I looked this up in the message, and it seems like the writer of the message had just as little idea what was going on.
Oh, no.
Because it said here, suddenly Saul threw the spear, thinking, I'll nail David to the wall. David ducked.
Whoa, okay, hold on. Whoa. Nail? He says nail him to the wall?
With the spear. Throw the spear through him to the wall. I got that from the other translation, too.
I was thinking something much more sexy, but...
Oh.
Nail him.
Come on now. He's
nail
angry.
him.
He's mad. He's going to nail him to the wall. David ducked and the spear missed. Period. This happened twice.
Oh, geez. Okay.
So
this is very different.
He threw the spear, grabbed it, and threw it again, and David was able to elude the spear twice.
For some reason, this was two separate incidences where Saul was literally like, I'm going to murder you. Took a spear, threw it at him. David was like, whoa. And for some reason did not learn from that first time. It was fool me once. Shame on me.
David.
I mean, shame on you. Whatever. The point is, you can't get fooled again.
Good. That's a real deep politics pull there. That's good.
Thanks.
Okay. Saul was afraid of David because Yahweh was with him and was departed from Saul. Yeah, that's true. Therefore, Saul removed him from him, and really got the pronouns, you guys. You got to get with it here.
Wait, he removed who from who? Saul
I think he
removed
kept his
David
distance
from him?
Oh yeah, maybe that. Maybe
Jonathan?
he removed David from himself, or he removed himself from David. It's unclear. Okay.
Okay.
Therefore,
there's a lot of innuendo there, but keep going.
Therefore, Saul removed him from him, and made him his captain over 1,000, and he went out and came in before the people.
He was like, get out, but here's a promotion. Or maybe it's a demotion?
This might have been a demotion, because he was in charge of all of them, and now he's just one unit,
all right.
which they call thousands in this translation.
I'm demoting you. He doesn't kill him twice, and then he's like, you know what? I'm just going to demote you.
He's still attached,
Yeah, he still likes him. Okay.
He's his first harp player.
Yeah.
So the message says, so Saul got David out of his sight by making him an officer in the army.
Get out of my sight.
Okay.
Here's an officer position. Okay.
Yep. David behaved himself wisely in all his ways, and Yahweh was with him. When Saul saw that he behaved himself very wisely, he stood in awe of him. But all Israel and Judah loved David, for he went out and came in before them. So, okay.
Cool.
Now, we have covered before that going in and out does seem to mean sex, but going out and in, from what I can tell from looking at other translations, means going to war.
Okay, all right,
that's a very
war.
small distinction there. Okay,
I guess it makes sense though why Saul would be like, I can't actually kill this dude, and I can't banish this dude because he's too popular, so I can demote him.
That would look bad.
Yeah, but I can't straight up kick him out.
This reminds me of okay, this is going to be a weird connection here, but this is how my brain just worked. So in Rent, there's that line in, I think, La Vie Boheme, where he says, like, the opposite of war isn't peace, it's creation. He makes, like, a lewd gesture, right?
Yes.
That this, like, going in and out is sex and going out and in is war, it fits with that idea that, like, the opposites.
Wow, that's a level of, like, literary explication I was not expecting to reach today.
Okay, Jace. Okay.
I'm gonna write my dissertation on that. Don't worry about it.
Rent and the Bible.
Yeah. Okay. Saul said to David, "Behold, my elder daughter Merab, her will I give you as wife." Merab, her? Will I give you as wife? Only be valiant for me and fight Yahweh's battles.
He's like, what do you think I'm doing?
Oh, I see. For Saul said, don't let my hand be on him, but let the hand of the Philistines
Right, so maybe if I send him out, the Philistines will polish him off. Chances are he'll get called.
Oh, come on. He killed the big Philistine. Can't handle 10,000 little Philistines?
Yeah. David said to Saul, who am I? And what is my life?
Jean Valjean.
God, big mood.
Yeah. What is my life? Or my father's family in Israel, that I should be the son-in-law to the king? Okay, he meant that more like, wow, what is my life?
Right,
okay.
I'm being married off
how
to
awesome
the
am
princess.
But it happened at the time when Merab, Saul's daughter, should have been given to David, that she was given to Adriel the Maholetite as wife.
Maholetite. Jeez.
What's a Maholetite?
I don't even know.
I have no idea.
Okay, I'm glad.
Okay, Michal.
Wait, okay, hang on. Hold on. Merab, the first one. So
yeah.
Was this intentional that Saul was like telling David, oh yeah, I'm going to give you my daughter, but really I'm going to give her to this Maholy mackerel over here.
Maholy mackerel, yeah.
Okay.
That's how I read it.
All right.
Yeah.
Rough.
Okay. Yeah. Michal, Saul's daughter, loved David. I guess is the next daughter. She loved David, and they told Saul, and the thing pleased him. Saul said,
"What thing did?
I will like that they're in love,
that she likes,
or that she likes him."
Well, she likes David. We don't know what David thinks about any of this.
Doesn't matter, apparently.
Yeah. I will give her to him, that she may be a snare to him, and that the hand of the Philistines may be against him. Therefore, Saul said to David, you shall this day be my son-in-law a second time.
Wait, who was he? So, okay, are they saying that he married... Who did he marry the first time?
Betrothed. He was supposedly betrothed to Merab, and he was like, oh my god, I'm going to be Saul's son-in-law. Then, just kidding, Merab's getting married off to someone else. And then Michal's like, wait, but I like David. And Saul's like, oh, good. Okay. Then you get married.
Yeah.
And you'll be a son-in-law a second time.
In theory and in my heart? Weird.
Yeah, like here's your second try at becoming my son-in-law, I guess.
Okay. Cool.
Saul commanded his servants, saying, commune with David secretly, and say, Behold, the king has delight in you, and all his servants love you. Now therefore be the king's son-in-law.
I mean, does he have a choice at this point?
Doesn't seem like he has a choice at any of this.
No.
Saul's servants spoke those words in the ears of David. David said, "Seems it to you a light thing to be the king's son-in-law, seeing that I'm a poor man and lightly esteemed?"
So,
dude, you're like head of the
I
armies
know,
and
but David's
stuff.
still
Like,
suspicious.
I'm very lightly esteemed.
Yeah, okay. The servants of Saul told him, saying, "On this manner spoke..." And lightly esteemed, the servants of Saul told him, saying, "On this manner spoke David."
Meaning, like,
period.
That's what he said.
What?
That's what David said. I don't know.
Okay, I'm also
message here real
confused.
quick.
So Saul's sending his servants to be like, "Hey, Saul really likes you, and we all love you, so you should definitely become his son-in-law." I don't quite understand Saul's purpose in all of this. What his play is, yes.
Yeah. Okay,
don't know.
so in any case, David's like being all modest, and then the servants, I guess, go back to Saul, saying, they tell him of the manner of which David spoke. Okay. Saul said, "Thus shall you tell David." Okay, so now here's his like retort back. Okay. "The king desires no dowry except 100 foreskins of the Philistines."
Oh, okay.
Here we are.
Oh,
Here we are.
Right. Okay. All right. The hammers come down.
We've been here before, haven't we?
Where does it talk about this in this version of the Bible?
Was it in Genesis? I forget. I think it was in Genesis where, when Dinah was raped.
One foreskin.
No, when Dinah was raped, that her family avenged her by like her father and brothers went to that town and they were like, "Hey, why don't you come marry the rest of the women in our tribe? But you got to get circumcised first." And so they circumcised all of them, collected their foreskins, and then
they killed them.
Killed them when they were recovering from that.
Right.
Oh boy.
But I thought we had another pile of foreskins at one point that was gifted to someone.
It's quite
be
possible.
wrong
It
here,
is
but-
the gift. It is the in gift for this gifting season.
It's not.
Wow. Okay. Pile of foreskins. That's a good like punk band name. If anyone wants it, you can have
That's
it. Just
pretty
let me
good.
know.
And yes,
I'll buy your
we have a
first
listener in the
EP.
chat who is saying that yes, there was a story in the Bible where like the name of the place was Pile of Foreskins because it was a place where they circumcised a lot of people.
And thus this place was named whatever, which means pile of foreskins. Yes.
No, remember it was
Yes.
named Foreskin Hill.
Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Okay, right. Now I remember.
Ugh.
Okay.
If somebody knows
Great.
where that is in the Bible,
Right.
then let us know, but I certainly don't know.
We have read it though. I do remember that. Okay. So he says, no big deal. Like all you got to do is get 100. What's interesting is that different translations have different numbers here. Some say 100 foreskins, some say 200, some say 1,000.
I mean, that's a big
Whoa.
difference in the scale of the task.
Yes, 100
That's
versus
important.
1,000.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is. It is really confusing. Let me see. Wait, 100. No, okay. So the Message also says 100. The NIV says 200. Let me see.
Now, what if? Okay, hang on.
But
What if he just got one big foreskin from someone like Goliath? Would that count? Because it seemed to count in the last battle.
I think Goliath is dead and buried at this point, or burned,
Right.
or whatever they did with him.
Okay, so maybe none of them say 1,000. Maybe it's just 100 or 200. It's all the same. It's all the same. It's a lot of foreskins. It's a big pile. Okay, so he wants no dowry except 100 foreskins of the Philistines to be avenged of the king's enemies.
I'd be like, I'll just
Now,
take
Saul-
the dowry. I'll do a side hustle. I'll find some shekels. Like,
I'll take a night shift somewhere. Okay, now Saul thought to make David fall by the hand of the Philistines. When his servants told David these words, it pleased David well to be the king's son-in-law. The days were not expired, and David arose and went, he and his men, and killed of the Philistines 200 men. And David brought their foreskins.
Oh, good.
And they gave them in full number to the king, that he might be the king's son-in-law.
Wow. So he did it. He gathered them. Now, here's the question. Is this implying he circumcised them and then also killed them, or maybe killed them first and then circumcised them, and that was just kind of proof of how many Philistines he killed? Or was he literally just like, I'm just going to circumcise you. You can keep doing what you're doing.
No. You need to... Let me read it again. Clearly you weren't paying attention because you were drinking.
I'm drinking a very, very, very hard cider.
That's true. That's true. It said, David arose and went, he and his men, and killed of the Philistines 200 men.
Okay.
And David brought their foreskins, and they gave them in full number to the king, that he might be the king's son-in-law. Saul gave him...
I would not want to be the person doing the foreskinning.
Or the foreskin counting.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Either. I'm assuming that they're counting as they're depriving the body of the foreskin.
Right.
But, yeah.
Well, but then when he gives them to Saul, did Saul sit there and go, let's see here, 1, 2,
perhaps
3.
I hope that he just took them at their word, but who knows?
Yeah. Saul gave him Michal, his daughter, as wife. Saul saw and knew that Yahweh was with David. And Michal, Saul's daughter, loved him. Saul was yet the more afraid of David, and Saul was David's enemy continually.
Jeez.
Last verse. Then the princes of the Philistines went forth, and it happened, as often as they went forth, that David behaved himself more wisely than all the servants of Saul, so that his name was much set by.
Much set by. Is that...
It was much set by.
Is that the equivalent of like having a ton of followers on Instagram?
Oh, yeah, that must have been. Yeah. Mm-hmm. On Stone Tablet Gram or whatever they were using at the time.
So I have a question. How do they teach this in Sunday school?
Oh, I was never taught this, the foreskin story.
The foreskin
ever.
thing? No.
So they just go through Goliath and then they're like, and scene.
Here's a question for you, Dedeker. When you were taught the story of David and Goliath, do you remember David cutting off his head? Because I don't remember that.
Yes. I remember different versions of the story. I remember some versions where they're just like, yeah, he slung a rock and it killed him and he was done and it was a party and everyone was happy.
That's what I remember.
But I do remember some versions where they're like, yeah, and then he went and cut off his head. Now, kind of a fun bonus for our listeners, for anyone, I want to give a shout out to the Brick Testament. I don't know if anyone's familiar with it, but if you go to, I think it's thebricktestament.com, basically you'll find someone who's made a bunch of these kind of like photo stories out of different stories of the Bible that they've done all with adorable. Legos. And they do this story. They do the foreskin story.
Oh, right. I remember. We have.
Is it like one little Lego piece?
Yes.
It's a bunch of the little, like, sort of like the coin-sized ones.
Single ones.
The little singles.
Yes, the like single coin-sized ones. Just a pile.
I do remember that.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, how was it taught to you when you were a kid, Jace?
Well, just like a lot of people were saying in the chat here, that it's like he slings the rock, it kills Goliath, and then that's the end of the story. And then it's like, yay, David's our guy. Woo! He's a cool boy. And that's usually where it cuts.
And sand. Yeah.
I never really got these stories about him marrying Saul's daughters. Like, I think I was told.
Probably, yeah.
You know, that like, oh yeah, he married Saul's daughter and it was great. But I was never told this kind of like what the conditions were necessarily for being able to marry one of his daughters.
Right, yeah.
Goodness.
Wow. Well, that was exciting. We finally got to the story, Emily. You've been teasing it now for several episodes that you wanted to get to this David and Goliath story, and we not only got that, but we also got a pile of foreskins.
Yeah, and no, I was expecting more kind of parrying and, you know, people actually doing some fighting rather than just, okay, and he slung a stone. And the kind of stone that I think about is one that you might like skip across a lake.
Right.
That's what I thought of.
It must have been a bigger stone, although apparently it did fit in his wallet. So how big?
That's exactly. I'm like, how big of a wallet are we talking here? I don't know. So yeah,
Emily, I will say something that I noticed when I first started reading the Bible as an adult is that a lot of the
you mean now
like, epic stories No, I mean, even before this, like when I was in college.
You read the Bible as an adult? Oh, in college. Oh yeah, you did theologian things.
Yeah, when he was getting close to being a seminarian.
Right. I didn't read the whole thing. This is the first time I'm doing that.
Clearly, yeah.
But did go, and like anytime stuff about the Bible would come up, would go and try to look it up and be like, what is this story really? And like a lot of the things that are made into this big story where lots of pictures are made about it and Legos are designed to recreate the story, that those stories, a lot of them are like a paragraph. You know, it's actually like a very small thing that happened.
So what is that exactly? Yeah. Like what they're like, okay, this is the best part of the Bible, like the story of David and Goliath, like small boy versus big boy. Like, let's talk about that and let's, make a huge pomp and circumstance about that. Yeah. But then the rest of it is just not spoken about.
Yeah.
Selective, I guess.
No, it is. Well, it is a funny thing where it's like what I found going back to it, and I think we've found reading it too, is it's like what sort of conventional wisdom is about the Bible is like the stories, like some stories that are very small are like big as if they were significant parts of the Bible, and parts like the ones we just read are almost entirely ignored about the pile of foreskins, right? So it is this weird sort of like, that's what I love about reading it. It's like you're getting the sense of what's actually in this, not just what are the things people make a big deal about and what are the things people ignore, what are the things people only pull out when they want to argue about a particular thing without...
What are the things people like kind of turn on its head? Because I'm sorry, but like a lot of that was very homoerotic, and, to say that like God hates gay people, I call bullcrap.
In I don't want to get too deep into this particular topic, but I mean, when I was growing up, I was raised in the evangelical church where it was very much just kind of assumed like, oh yeah, homosexuality is a sin and it's not a real thing. That was a big part of it, is that it's not real. Like it's essentially like almost the equivalent of like a mental illness, that it's like, it's not real. People who feel that way, those aren't real feelings. And so I think as a result of that, like, I know for me growing up, anything in media, including secular media, that was homoerotic or had those themes, I often would just like not get. Like for most of my young adult life, like my, my gaydar was just like totally not functioning because it was just like, oh, that's just not a thing, And so if a guy is taking off his clothes to put on someone else and like, this language
put on someone else.
This language is implying that like their souls are entwined and stuff like that. It's like you don't even think that. It's just like, oh, it's just like a cool friendship thing. It's like you don't even think that. At least that's how it was for me. So like picking up,
but then I go there automatically. I'm like, what is this? This is clearly what this means.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Wow. Okay, so thank you so much for all of you that joined today. I am just really having a time from this hard cider, let me tell you. That was
It's okay, Dedeker, you gotta pace yourself.
The hardest cider I've ever had. Those of you who are listening to the recorded version of this, if you want to join us for our live streamed episodes, go to drunkbiblestudy.com/live to get more information about joining that, so that you can interact with us in the chat, drop in your jokes, make us laugh, and generally, have a good time along with us. So again, thank you for joining us for Bible study today. If you want even more Drunk Bible Study, including ad-free episodes, early releases, personal toasts on the show, and more, become one of our patrons at patreon.com/drunkbiblestudy. If you enjoy the show, please take a moment to subscribe and then write us a nice review on iTunes or Stitcher, letting other people know what you like about it. You can also join fellow listeners in the Drunk Bible Study Fans and Fellowship Facebook group. Find us on Twitter at Drunk Biblecast, on Instagram at Drunk Bible Study, or send us an email to info@drunkbiblestudy.com. Drunk Bible Study is created and produced by Emily Matlack, Jace Lindgren, and me, Dedeker Winston. Our theme song is Book Club by Josh and Anand from their album Home of the. For more information, visit us at drunkbiblestudy.com. I made a memory about your dad.